Yesterday, I made a short video for a member of the Modern Blues Harmonica Group, a young woman who was struggling with vibrato. And I had to make it public in order to share it with her. She's not on my list of Facebook friends. And I've gotten such a weird response from people that aren't harmonica players. They all seem to love it. An ex-sister-in-law said, "It's good to see this side of you." I'm not sure which side she meant, but that was nice. So I thought maybe I'd do some more stuff. A couple of months ago, I had advised one of my friends to get a Big River, a Hohner Big River harmonica, and another friend showed he had an interest in the harmonica, and I sent him a marine band, which I think he since destroyed in the laundry from a picture or posting that he had. Anyway, around that time, I tried to make a video that would help them get started on playing the harmonica. And unfortunately, I pushed the wrong button, time lapse, and so I had like a 21-minute video that ran in like 27 seconds or something like that. It was ridiculous, and I couldn't figure out how to slow it down enough. I could slow it down a little bit, but it was still ridiculous. I have a particular method. I don't teach harmonica. I did at one time have an adult education class in the 90s, the late 90s, and then after I had gotten like everybody in the area to get the harmonica out of the drawer that they had, the class kind of died. Attendance fell off, and it went the way of many courses, I guess. But it was fun while it lasted. And I didn't produce any real blues harp players except for Tom Egan. But, and I think he already knew what he was doing before he got there. But there was a recital at the end of each semester, each run of the course. And all of the students could play a recognizable tune on the harmonica, which in 8 weeks, that's pretty good. Some of them had expression and stuff like that. So, but I don't do like individual lessons because, first of all, I play the harmonica upside down. I hold it in which hand is it? My right hand. Low notes to the right, numbers down. Okay, and I do that because I have better control with my left hand. I'm sort of ambidextrous, but the left hand is kind of strong. I write and eat with the left hand anyway. So that's one thing. The other thing is I get single notes, not by pursing my lips like that, and not by tongue blocking, which is a method of putting your lips, your mouth over 4 holes and covering 3 of them. I've been working on that a little bit. That was a tongue-blocked 4-blow. I get my single notes, by curling my tongue, which is something you either can do or can't do. You can't learn it. But the tongue goes right on the harmonica, and that little channel there gets the air through. Now, if you can't do that, I'd be hard-pressed to teach you the harmonica. My brother John picked up a harmonica at some point, and he asked me, "How do you get single notes?" And I told him how I curl my tongue, and he said recently, he says, "Well, that's how I do it," because he can curl his tongue. So I don't really do a teaching thing. But what I can do is sort of tell my story with the harmonica, like how you kind of introduce yourself to the harmonica. Now, I started 1966. I picked my brother Peter had brought home a bunch of harmonicas. He was into Bob Dylan and Eric Anderson and other people. I guess Donovan played harmonica too, right? So in a drawer in the bedroom that we shared, he had marine bands and he had blues harps. And I don't know if I tried them both or I just decided that I picked the marine band up. I think it was in the key of C, but I couldn't be sure. It doesn't really matter at that point because you're not playing with anybody else. I went into the living room and I sat down and I had, what did I have? There was a Peter, Paul, and Mary songbook. I'd been playing guitar for a few months, I think. And Peter, Paul, and Mary had done Blowing in the Wind. And I sort of read the little paper that used to come with the marine bands. And I started to read the notes. I could read notes a little bit. And but I started doing it by ear. And I was a little. I did the tongue curl thing naturally. I don't know why, and I couldn't get over the fact that I could get single notes like that. And I thought to myself, why doesn't Dylan play this way? It always sounds like when he does hit a single note, it sounds like an accident. All right. But I didn't know anything about blues, nothing about second position or even first position. I didn't know there were positions at all. And I didn't know anything about bending notes. I didn't know anything about, the history of the blues or Muddy Waters or Paul Butterfield or anything. I just had a harmonica, and I would play a lot of tunes by ear. I'd lay on my bed and pick out a tune. I haven't played that in probably 15, 16 years, but there it is. And then I started getting systematic about it. I would play an interval. So 4 blow, 4 draw, do, re, right? What does that sound like? I'm doing all tongue stuff there, but because I can't stop it. But so do, re is the beginning of Susanna. Oh, Susanna. And I would pick out the rest of it. Okay. And then, so what's the next interval? That's a second. The next interval is a third. Michael. I keep slipping in stuff that, embellishments that I... So let's see, what's in that? That's the third, a fourth. You get the idea. I can't think of a song that starts with the fourth. A fifth. Is it the Jeopardy song? I don't know. St. Patrick's Day would come around, I'd learn Irish songs. I'd figure out Irish songs. Christmas would come around, I'd figure out Christmas songs. That was Joy to the World with a tag of Tantum Ergo for my Cadillac friends. Okay. So that's how it went for like a year and a half. A year and 8 months, something like that. Okay. And then I used to watch the Pete Seeger Rainbow Quest show. And I'm not sure, but there's an episode where Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee are on the show. I think it's like a half-hour show. I'll have to check that out. Maybe it's an hour. And I think that's the first time I heard like anything like blues harp. All right. Sonny Terry does all that chord stuff and the whooping, and it's a kind of older folk style of blues. But nonetheless, I heard it. I couldn't play any of it, but I heard it. And sometimes just knowing something exists helps. But one day I was my brother. Besides bringing home harmonicas, he brought home this fabulous record collection. The Mothers of Invention, the Doors, the Holy Modal Rounders, what else? The Fugs, Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's was in our house, all sorts of stuff. And he brought home the East West album by Paul Butterfield. And I'm looking at these albums, and East West has the work song on it. And I'd also heard the work song on a Herb Alpert album that my mother had. The album where that lady's all covered in shaving cream or whipped cream or whatever, some kind of cream. And my thinking was, is that the same song? And it was the same song, at least in what the jazz musicians call the head, Butterfield and Bloomfield take it in an entirely different direction. But I'm reading the notes to the album because that's what you did. You sat down. I don't think it was. Yeah, you sat down, put a record on, sit down with the notes. There aren't that many notes on East West. It's not like when the first album has a whole article on the back. This is the second album, and it's like anti-liner notes. But anyway, it credited this guy, Paul Butterfield, with he was playing harmonica. Now, of course, he's playing harmonica through a mic into an amp. So it sounds completely different than what I was getting out of my first position folky playing, all right? And I was like, what? That's a harmonica? I couldn't believe it. But I knew that I wanted that sound. And I think by this time I had a job. I had a little money in my pockets. And very shortly after that epiphany there with Butterfield, I bought the first album. Probably at Jamie's Discount Records on Flatbush at Albemarle. All right? And started working on that stuff. Okay. And it's a struggle. I had taken there's a Tony Glover book called Blues Harp. I had borrowed it from the library, and then I bought a copy, I think, at the local music store, Artie's, and I could make sense out of a lot of it. And it's got this. It's written in this kind of cute, pseudo hipster language, and not modern day hipsters, but like from the 50s hipsters. Anyway, he's got an explanation of how to bend notes, and I wasn't getting it from his explanation, and the reason was because I'm a tongue curler. I have to do it differently than other people would. Okay, I was doing this kind of thing. which is a sort of a bend up there. But what blues musicians do is they get entire whole different notes. That's the bottom 3 holes on the harmonica. This is a C harmonica, so it's C, D, E, G, G, and then B. You're missing the F and you're missing the A. But you can get the F and the A. You can play a scale on those notes if you know how to bend. Once you start learning how to do that. So I'm listening to Butterfield, and I bought a Jimmy Reed record. You learn to bend the high notes. I love you, baby. Honest, I do. Tony Glover taught me how to do train sounds. I actually, when I was teaching the adult class, I told them that the New York State licensing board required you to play a train imitation before you could get your harmonica player's license. Tony Glover taught me that. Chicken Brown taught me to shuffle it, to put it in a different rhythm, which is, I'm kind of stuck there. My train imitation kind of went south years ago, but I kind of, jump it. Actually, my first performance in public on the harmonica was at a junior prom at Nazareth. I was a sophomore, and we were waiters. Sophomores waited on tables. The band was the Hangmen. Their manager was a guy named Bill Ziegler. He was a friend of mine. He had heard me play, and he got me up to do a sort of facsimile of Cream's Train Time, just me and the drummer. And I always think of that as like the real turning point. Well, the real turning point was pulling a guitar out from under the bed and learning 4 chords. But this was another step up, okay? But what's important about the fact that I spent a year and 8 months, say, just playing melodies is that I'm always hearing melodies in my head when I'm playing, even when I'm playing blues, which a lot of people just think is, riffs hung together, There's a song called Baby Please Don't Go. And I hear the melody, I can play the melody. That last bit was octaves. You put your mouth over 4 holes and block the 2 in the middle, and you can get octaves. And then these other intervals. Some amazing things have happened to me because of the harmonica. In 1971, I got to play in the big room at the 71st Precinct for all the shift-changing police. And then in 2016, I was stopped in Tennessee by a state trooper, and he saw the guitar and he said, "You play blues or country?" And I said, he was African American. That's important. I said, I play both, you know. He said, "Really? You play blues?" I said, "Well, I have a harp in my pocket. I could show you." So I took it out and I played Sitting on Top of the World for him. And he let me go. He was concerned because I was in the left lane and wasn't passing anything. Right? I don't know, is there more to this? I'll have to do another one, but pick a tune, any tune. I can play these tunes just because I practiced so much. I worked so hard. I know a lot of beginners will read off tablature. So there's an arrow that says 4 and an arrow going this way. And that means blow into hole 4. And then there's an arrow pointing down. And that means draw on hole 5 or whatever, you know. And you can see these people when they're playing, even if they're not like actually looking at the tablature, you can see it, you can kind of see it going across their heads. You'll never get musical that way. You'll never think music if you're thinking, "Oh, am I on hole 3? Am I on hole 4, 5? Where am I?" You know, just play the melody. You know. All right, I don't know if I'll post this or not. I have to look it over again. But thanks for listening, and be safe.